Krunk crew, how are you? Hello. This is Kyle Krunk, the host of the Krunk Crew Debrief, and we're bringing you episode number 9. 9, almost to the double digits, guys. This is being recorded on January 20th, 2020. It's a Monday night. And, yeah. Back at it again with the procrastination crew. You guys know how I do. I've been getting ready to record this for. Actually, I said I was going to record it when I got back from the lunch that I went to today. We'll talk about it a little bit later. And then I took a nap because we got Dunkin' Donuts on the way back from lunch. It was like a late lunch, but we got Dunkin' Donuts on the way back, right? And they have this drink, and it is just my weakness. This drink, it's my weakness, okay? It's called the Caramel Craze. Whenever it comes to sweets, I'm not a very, very big sweets guy, to be honest with you. I don't like cake that much. A lot of times I can only do a little bit of chocolate at a time because it's just overdone for me. I'm just not the biggest dude on sweets, okay? And every once in a while I get my sweet tooth, alright? I'm not immune to it, just like anybody else. But the one thing consistently, sweets-wise, that I can consume and be happy with is caramel. You say caramel, fucking see yourself out. We'll wait.
Bye, have a great time.
Because it's caramel, okay? Grow up. Alright? So, Caramel Craze is a drink that they have. I like caramel macchiatos from Starbucks. Caramel Craze is a drink that Dunkin' Donuts has. Super good, super delicious. Had one of those. And you'd think, oh yeah, you'd be wired after that. No, I had one of those. Then I was like, I need a nappy nap. So, I embraced the nap as an adult because someone with insomnia, excuse me, as someone with insomnia, I'll take sleep when I can get it, you know. And if I'm feeling a nap coming on, see ya, getting it. I want that nap. I'm trying to make up for every nap I denied myself as a child, and you know, it is what it is. Don't at me. So yeah, had a nap, was gonna record the podcast before the naps, and then instead took a nap, woke up, and then that's when the anxiety and all that started. So then I procrastinated for a couple of hours. Here we are. We're recording now. We're recording. Like I said, I'm gonna have them recorded on Mondays, regardless. No questions asked, and it's getting done. Couple other things that are going on, like updates in my life. I still have yet to start jujitsu. I'm still waiting on the gi. No updates on its shipping yet. I just really, it is what it is. I just refuse to be the guy that, sorry if you heard that audio only listeners, I hit the microphone with my head. I I refuse to be the only guy that shows up in sweatpants like some weirdo to a jujitsu class. So I don't know. I'm just weird like that. So I'll just wait for it to come, and when it gets here, I will, try my best, try my hardest, and go get it done. But in the healthy department, just overall, if you guys remember the podcast from shortly before or after my birthday, I told you guys I wanted to become the healthiest I've ever been in my 29th year. I'm off to a little bit of a slower start than I'd like to be, just because I'm not doing anything super active. But I have been making overall healthier choices, more water. I guess it's been a little over a month since my birthday. I've lost like 10 pounds. Nothing huge, nothing special, but that's just like making smarter choices, eating and stuff. Once we get to the real work, then we'll see some changes and stuff happen. So there's the progress update if anyone's wondering that. Also, anybody frequent to the stream, I apologize for the one day I wanted to do the big day where we could hang out and talk to each other. It was actually yesterday. And you know what? We didn't get those 3 hours in for the podcast. But I also didn't really have anyone show up at any point saying, hey, they wanted to talk about the podcast, so I just kept gaming. As far as the EU crew Saturdays go, my insomnia really got my ass on Friday night going into Saturday, and I ended up not being able to do it. I ended up falling asleep when I was supposed to be starting the stream at 4 a.m., but I think I'm going to be moving that back to 6 a.m. instead of ending at noon. It'll be 6 a.m. to 2 because it might be, if I realize it's a weekend and maybe somebody with the time zone over there wants to sleep in a little bit, and I heard it's 9 a.m. The time I was going to be using 4 a.m. my time would be 9 a.m. your time, and give you a little bit of a sleep in option if you want, so you don't miss anything. We can still hang out. I still really do, speaking while we're on this subject, and then we'll move on. I still do need to plan like a subathon or a community day. I just, guys, I'm really bad about ideas. Like, it still amazes me that anybody shows up to hang out and watch and chat in the stream anyway. I don't know what I could have as like a goal that you guys would want that would be like cool. Like, I don't know. I guess it's like buying a gift for someone. I'm really bad at buying gifts for people. And it's like I'm trying to buy a gift for everybody that comes to my stream. I'm trying to think of something that I can give back that would make everybody happy, and it's a really tough thing. The only thing I could think of is like maybe I could make a goal like shave my beard or something, but then that would conflict some people, because some people don't want the beard shaved, so then some people might want it shaved as like a hoot and holler hoax. So just stuff like that. It's just super hard for me to decide what to do or what I want to do. And then as far as the community days go, just based off what I've seen other people that are bigger than me do when they try to host any sort of community days, I'm just worried about dedicating a whole day to the community days, and I only have like 2-3 people, 5-6 people. Even 10 max isn't enough to even 10 people isn't enough to fill up a creative lobby or anything like that. So I'm just worried about either being stuck with the same couple people that do show up the entire day, giving me no change in pace or no change in anything, which to me and maybe to watchers would be pretty boring, or B, only having a few people show up, doing it for a little bit, and then just being like, oh yeah, it's over, So it's just like, I don't want to half-ass anything. So I don't know. It's just, that's what the delay on those things have been. If you are a fan of the stream, if you're just a fan of the podcast, I'm sorry I talk about it so much here, but it is what I spend my most time doing, and it is something that I'm pretty passionate about, and I'm making kind of like my last big because if by the end of this year it doesn't change, I just gotta do something. I gotta do something different with my life. If as much as I love doing what I'm doing, not seeing growth or progress while I'm doing it is very, very tough for me. And yeah, there might be it's like a drip. It's like a drip progress. Is a slow, and yes, I am thankful for every bit of support, progress, anything I get in that area. But being realistic with myself, it's like saying I'm trying to drink a cup of water by filling it up a drip at a time. I'm not going to be able to drink that cup of water for years and years and years, which I have, some youth in me, and I have the ability that maybe I could join, like, rejoin a branch of the service, or, I don't know, go into law enforcement or something like that. I could do something super exciting and rewarding for myself and for others, I believe. Something that is rewarding to myself, which is, I guess making sacre. I don't know. It's a very rewarding thing to do if you've ever done it. I guess I just want more of a sense of that. I want to be in a position where I can, I don't know. I guess I just want to see growth and stuff. The things that I enjoy out of streaming are great, but they're also not life sustaining. It's I never want to sound like somebody that's ever asking or begging for anything, so it's hard for me to even talk about it, because then it makes, in my mind, it Before I continue down this, I'll tell you a little bit about growing up. Growing up, you know, my family didn't have the most money, and the money that we did have, my parents, I guess, were smart about it. They paid bills, whatever. But my parents were victims of, if you've ever seen the hit movie The Big Short, it's a movie about the housing market crash in the early 2000s, which my parents were affected by that. It wasn't just, the movie depicts all these California homes, Florida, Miami homes, um, stuff like that. But it was happening all over the entire country. Like, my parents got on a non-fixed payment, and then by the time they were at the end, they were paying like almost, they had to declare, long story short, they had to declare bankruptcy. We had to move houses. Cool thing is, the house we moved to was very similar to the house we already lived in layout wise, so it was kind of eerie. But that being said, growing up, I didn't know what not having a lot of money was like, and my next door neighbors, who were twins, both of their parents were in a pharmacy industry. One of them was in delivering stuff, and I don't know, I think the other one was like admin stuff for a pharmacy, whatever it may be. But they, their family had a little bit more money, and I was mooching all the time before I knew what mooching was. I saw they had money. I was a kid. Hey, will you buy me one of the? I would ask for things. I would, I would mooch. I would. They would go. They'd buy a pizza. Let me get a slice. Stuff like that. And it wasn't until I was a little bit older and I realized what it was. I realized, the situation, that I became just, I guess, a little bit embarrassed about it. That, I didn't want to be that guy or that kid that's like asking for handouts or anything like that. So it's hard for me. It's always been hard for me financially, with money, because I'm used to not having money, and I know what I, even in like the Marine Corps, there was a lot of times I was living paycheck to paycheck because, you know, it's just, it's weird. It feels like, to me, it feels like if you even discuss finances, and if finances aren't in the best situation, it feels in my mind like you're asking for a handout or help or stuff like that. And that's not the case. But what I was getting to as far as the Twitch thing goes, I can't, I want to be able to be financially comfortable to where if there's something cool that happens, or something cool that comes out, or an emergency that happens in my home, I'm covered. And where I'm at right now, my life is just not making that possible. And I don't want to just keep doing something just for the love of it and put my family through harder times because I'm enjoying what I'm doing, So it's been, for me, I've been having a lot of time thinking about what I would want to do if and or when I ever have to, like, either stop streaming or just, take a break or whatever the case may be. And that led to me looking up the age restrictions for military prior service people joining back in. And then I guess, I don't know. I can't really think of, like, I did IT for like 10 years. I definitely don't want to do IT again or anymore. I don't know exactly. There's things I'm passionate about, but like not enough that, there's things that I enjoy, but not enough that like I want to go and do that as work. Like, I enjoy my wife's a zookeeper. I love animals. I don't want to go be a zookeeper or work at the zoo. That's just, it is what it is. That's not what I want to do. Other things, like, I really enjoy teaching people or helping people. So like, teacher's a cool job, but I also don't want to go back to school, accrue a debt, because I've already used some of my GI Bill. So the parts of my GI Bill that wouldn't be covered, I'd have to pay for, accrue a debt, and then just to get a job that's not going to pay that much anyway. There's not that many jobs that you think of that you're like, man, I would love that job, and I would actually go to that job every day super happy to do it. So I guess that just leaves the option of I'd have to, I gotta do something. And I know a lot of people work jobs that they hate just because they need to support their family. And if that's whatever I gotta do is whatever I gotta do. I definitely think there are some opportunities out there that I would enjoy. So those are the things I'd definitely be looking into first. But those kind of lifestyles are lifestyles that wouldn't afford me really the opportunity to keep doing all this kind of stuff and content so much because anybody that's ever been in law enforcement or the military, free time is few and far between, and when you have it, that free time is literally usually only available for sleeping, eating, shitting, showering, and stuff like that majority of the time. With that being said, that means the rest of your free time is usually or your only real free time is usually like weekends. But being in either law enforcement and or the military, you're very, 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 very subject to working those weekends. The one thing about the Marine Corps is if somebody lost a radio in the middle of the day and it's 2 minutes before you're about to get off work and someone loses a radio, well, guess what? Even though the barracks is right there, some people do have home off base and they have to drive off base or whatever the case may be. But even though your home is literally within eyesight, like I can see my barracks room window from where I'm standing. If somebody from the radio platoon lost a radio, guess what? No one's going home until that radio's found. And there was more than one occasion, where we're out until 10 o'clock at night looking for a radio, flashlights out, whatever the case may be, searching every freaking inch that we can think a radio could possibly fit in and around our battalion area, just so that we can go to bed, wake up at 4 in the morning and resume this. Other jobs, guess what? You lost the report that was due. Well, you got to clock out at 5, and other jobs, some jobs, I guess maybe your salary, and that might not be the case, but very few jobs will mimic the forced availability that is put upon you when you're in a military situation. Any and everything could be the reason you're getting up earlier, getting home later, and it just happens very frequent. Saying all these things, maybe I'm going to talk myself out of wanting to do these kind of jobs, but yeah, with all that being said, your free time is very coveted, so it would be very hard to be any sort of content creator in that situation. And there's not, you guys, there's not really anything else I can think of. Like, I love cooking, but I don't think I'd want to be a chef and go work on a line and get, treated like shit like a Gordon Ramsay over making, like, if you've ever watched enough cooking shows, especially like Hell's Kitchen, you ever understand what a dinner service is? And that shit's like every night. It is like hectic. Like, if you ever worked in a food industry and you've experienced a rush, like a lunch rush or a breakfast rush, or a dinner rush, it is shitty. And if you haven't experienced it, go ask one of your friends that is in the food industry and be like, hey, tell me about the worst lunch, whatever time of meal that you think is popping in your town. Tell me what the worst rush was in your experience, and they'll probably tell you a fucking hellacious story. Even my very first job at McDonald's when I was 15, we had a high school call and order 100 double cheeseburgers and 100 McChickens. So you got to think of this. This is all happening during our dinner rush. These guys are calling to pre-order this thing and come pick it up after a game of some sort. We're having to fulfill this order on top of making the normal people that are coming in for their everyday meals, drive through, whatever. It's crazy. And that's just not the kind of stuff I want to do. I don't want to chop off a finger trying to learn how to cut celery. I enjoy cooking, I enjoy food. It's just, I don't know. I guess there's just not that many super cool jobs out there. that, or maybe I'm just not very creative or imaginative, but I don't know. I've been in this really deep headspace of thinking about all that stuff a lot on repeat cycles. So, yeah, it's been a weird week for me. Just with insomnia, and then having the extra time to think because of the insomnia, and then just thinking about the future, and just I don't know. You're not really a true adult unless some aspect of the future scares you a little bit. Going back to what I was saying earlier, that we would talk about the lunch that I had today. It's actually my wife's birthday in 4 days. My grandma's birthday was 3 days ago. So that means today we're in like the in between middle spot. We went to Quaker Steak and Lube for uh for a late lunch. That's the late lunch I was talking about earlier. And the funny story from this is it's always hilarious because my grandma gets the same thing every time. We call her Meemaw. I do. Meemaw gets the same thing every time she goes to Quaker Steak and Lube, and I always look forward to going there with her because I know what she's going to order, and I want to hear the words come out of her mouth. And she's ordered this, let me tell you, at least 10 times now, and she still pretends, she still messes it up on purpose at the beginning to act like I guess to spare herself the salad. So she goes, it's called the biker chick salad. So this time she goes, "Can I get the baker chick? Excuse me, the baker chick." She goes, "Baker chick salad." Oh, excuse me, biker chick salad. Like, all right, Meemaw, come on. You've ordered this enough times. You know what the fuck it's called. Say it right. Say it right. We just want to hear it. You know damn right. Now I want to know damn right. Say it, biker chick salad. The biker chick. It's funny. So we go through our whole eating process, and it's funny because at the end we go, first of all, I don't think I ever want to eat here again. I get a steak, which was sirloin, but I get mashed potatoes, and Michelle, my wife, wanted French fries with it, so I got her French fries. I got some mashed potatoes with gravy, but then I get the mashed potatoes, and I'm dipping a fry in it, and just from the feeling the fry dip in this and feeling like the chunks and just the consistency and everything about it, I'm like, and then everything else starts coming into clear focus. I see little air bubbles around the edges of this little mashed potato bowl. If I said mac and cheese, whatever, mashed potato bowl. My wife had mac and cheese, that's why I might have said that. But mashed potato bowl, dip. And then I see little air bubbles around the edge. I'm like, this some bitch was microwaved. And then I feel it, and then I realize the bowl is like a classic textbook. I have a lot of frozen shit in my freezer. Microwavable material. This is straight up just like a little microwaved bowl of mashed potatoes, and you put gravy on top of it, and then brought it out to my table. Whatever. So I'm over that. And then my dad's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure my quesadilla was microwaved. I'm over that. It's just, you got that going on. The wings are so and so. It's known as like a wing and beer, and I don't know. It's just after today's meal, I don't think I want to go back there and eat. Maybe just watch my grandma order her salad. But we finish eating and we go to get our boxes and pack up whatever food we didn't eat, take it back with us. You know how it gets done. And everyone's already got their to-go boxes packed up. My grandma's got her to-go box closed. She puts it in the, I guess plastic bag they give you with the handles to carry, in her box. And then we're still sitting at the table, and she looks over and sees onion rings from the appetizer still sitting there. She said, well, no one's gonna pack those up? I was like, I don't want them. She's like, she didn't want them. No, all yours. Go for it, Meemaw. So instead of like putting them in her to-go box, she just starts grabbing them off the platter and putting them in the bag that the to-go box is in. Like, now the bag is just a food purse. Like, I'm like, Meemaw, what are you doing? Put them in the to-go box. So then she puts a couple of them in there, and then she's like, well, the lid won't close. So then she wraps the rest of them up in a bundle of napkins and puts them in there. Now she's got a fucking food purse. So enjoy that, Meemaw. Hope those onion rings tasted dandy later. That was a fun time today. So happy birthday to them. You guys see Meech in chat the next week or so, tell her happy birthday. I know she would appreciate it. Um, yeah, I don't know. I really hope that I can continue going forward. Hopefully, as in reference talking back to what we were talking about just before that lunch break story. Um, hopefully, as I get a little bit healthier and as I go forward, it'll help me. It'll clear the mind a little bit too. You know, hopefully with better health, physically comes a little bit of better mental health. And I don't know. I'm really trying to. I'm the type of person that always hopes for the best, but expects the worst because then you're prepared and then you're not disappointed when the worst happens. Um, and I go into every day hoping for the best, but you there's a fine line between what's it called when somebody's optimistic. There's a fine line between optimistic and delusional. And some people's optimism turns a little bit into delusions of grandeur, and they're not very realistic with themselves and what they can accomplish and whatever the case may be. I've always found it to be a very, very good idea, as much as you can identify and handle to do it, to be 100% real with yourself and not to allow yourself any of those delusions of grandeur. For example, many people who start to stream on Twitch, very, very common to have a delusion of grandeur that, hey, I'm going to stream and within a month, I'm going to have, I'm a funny person. I'm a good guy. I'm good at the game. I'm going to have 300 people watching me and they're all going to be cheering my name. Kyle. But ask any streamer, they have, at some point, they have that delusion pass through. There might be a few out there that'll deny it or that are truly not think that way ever, but whenever you can remember, whenever you can afford to break any delusions of grandeur that you have in your life, I would always recommend you do so, because once you pass that line of optimism and you start thinking in unrealistic things, like realistically, I'm never going to be the president. And that's not because it's not possible for me, but it's because I don't want to. There's a million reasons, but it's just never going to happen. If I wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden have this idea that I could become the president, I just really fucking doubt it. I'm 29 years old now. People that were, most people that are presidents have either started their foot in politics or, high level business by this time. It's just, there's so many things, there's so many things. And I think it helps you not waste time. I think our most valuable resource as living beings, apologize, I'm taking a drink. I feel our most valuable resource as human beings is also one of the ones that we have no control over and we kind of invented ourselves. Time. We've talked about this in an earlier podcast. Time's a super weird thing that we're one of the only animals that observe it the way that we do, where we look at it in future, past tense. Almost every other animal is living in the now, surviving. There's no animal that thinks about what they're going to have for dinner next week. There's no animal that looks forward to any holidays. We're the only living species that I'm aware of that treats and observes time the way that we do, which is kind of silly. It is kind of silly, but it is also the most valuable and important thing we have, because you can never go back in time. You can never get any time that you wasted back. If I sat all day staring at this screen before I hit record today, no matter what I said during this podcast, no matter if I became the most famous Joe Rogan podcaster in the world, from this episode right now today, nothing in this universe would give me back all that time I just spent from there. And one thing I've observed about time is as humans, the older we get, the faster it seems to pass. Think about how long a day of school used to feel. Oh my God, I'm not going to make it through today at school. Not going to make it. It's literally an eternity. I'm at school and I'm in my first class. I am not going to make it till the bell rings today. It's not even a full... I don't want to... Listen. As someone who's worked 13-hour shifts, 12-hour shifts, 24-hour shifts in the Marine Corps, as someone who has worked long shifts as an adult, looking back on like a day of school is like a blink to me, right? But at that time, I meant it, man. A whole day of school felt like eternity. Now, that's kind of like what weeks are like. A week, like what I used to think of a day of school, it's kind of how I perceive weeks. Like, that's a little bit, it's going to take a little bit. We're going to get there. We're going to get there by Friday. And then we observe older people, a little bit older than yourself. You'll see that they start treating years that way. And then when you get really old, to the elderly, you'll see that they treat decades that way. And my 20s, very great time, my 20s. I did a lot of good stuff in my 20s. Those were a good time. And then my 30s, hell yeah. They talk about it like it was a week. So the sooner we become aware of this fact and the way that we view time and the way that we are going to view time, most likely, the faster we become aware of this, the faster we can start actually treating time as it's pretty precious. As precious as it is. And it's one of those things, though. You got to constantly remind yourself. You got to constantly remind yourself to, embrace just whatever it is. Embrace it. In the Marine Corps, we say embrace the suck, but embrace the good times. Just embrace time. Because you're not getting another one. You're not getting a redo on life. You don't get a reset. I can't say these things from facts, but I don't personally believe in reincarnation, but this is the life that you get. There's no redos, there's no mulligans, there's no let me redo today again because I fucked it up. You gotta accept things for what they are and just try to make the things that are coming or the things that are happening right now better because of what you learned from them. And that's why everybody likes improving. And I guess what this whole podcast is kind of just about acceptance. Whether it's breaking delusions of grandeur, like we were talking about before, realizing that a position that you're in might not be stable, healthy mentally, financially, whatever the case may be. Realizing that time is what it is and it's not ever going to change for you or anybody else as long as existence goes on. All these things, you need to come to a certain level of acceptance and realization. And once you do, and once you have, I believe it helps you live a little bit of a better life because it's just things that you keep on the tip of your mind, the tip of your thoughts, where you're telling yourself, hey, yeah, today does suck, but it could suck more. And I've had a pretty tough week, thinking, about things that kind of made me unhappy and letting it take my mind into other things that have made me unhappy. And one thing I'm not the best person at, as much as I've sat here and talked about it, I'm not the best person about realizing that fact that there's nothing we can do about changing the past. And I let things from the past still affect me as if they weren't the past. And that's something I'm going to have to continue to work on. That's something I encourage all of you guys to work on. And I just want to make the next day, tomorrow, better. And it's really hard to do in the moment. That's kind of my struggle, is in the moment remembering that all I can do from the present, all I can do from the moment I am thinking these thoughts and speaking these words and breathing this air, is try to make the future better. Because I'm not doing any fucking thing about the past. Not nothing. So while I sat here, was kind of explaining my thoughts, I kind of learned I kind of helped myself out with this viewpoint as sitting here talking to you guys about it. Because like I said, it's one thing I know I already had known I'm not very good about. But sometimes when I'm sitting here and just talking to you guys, talking it out and explaining it out to you helps me kind of explain it to me too. So yeah, let me finish that off, and then just think about how you can make tomorrow better, and do it. Even if you can't fulfill that plan to 100% fulfillment, and even though you might not make tomorrow the best tomorrow that it is, do something. Do something to remind yourself, to tell yourself that I'm making today a little bit better. And with that being said, I'd like to say thank you so much to all of you guys for being here. It's really crazy. These have helped me out a lot. These podcasts have helped me grow as a person. Sorry, I had a little bit of a burp from all this drink I've been drinking. If you're listening to audio only, I bet you were hoping I was tearing up. Well, I'm fucking not. Suck it. But really, doing these has helped me learn a lot about myself. I am sorry, audio guys. I keep hitting this with my headset because I'm leaning close to the mic to give you a good consistent. I'm leaning in a way that on the camera makes my face and this lighting look terrible. But I'm hoping it gives a pretty consistent audio quality, so that's the goal. It is a podcast after all. But doing these has really helped me grow and helped me become a better me and learn a lot about myself. And like I say every week, as long as you guys are enjoying them, I'll keep doing them. And hopefully as long as I keep doing them, we'll all keep growing together. And I think it's a really good feeling to feel not only yourself grow, but others grow along with you and around you, and just knowing that all of us are a little bit better for whatever the case may be, whether it's you going on a group run or you're coming together and talking out problems that you may have. It feels really good to accomplish things together where everybody feels a little bit more better off than they were at the beginning, and they did that as a group effort. And that's kind of what this has started to feel like to me. And I hope we can all get a little bit better and grow some together. And it's a little bit shorter of an episode this week, but with that being said, it'll be the end of the podcast. I appreciate you guys so much for being here. Shouts out to everybody that do take the time to stop by the Twitch stream and just give me a heads up that you listened to it and that you enjoyed it and that, drop some thoughts or whatever the case may be. It does mean a lot because without you guys, this just like with everything, without you guys, this thing wouldn't be here. So I love you. I hope you guys all have a great day, crew. And until next week, adios. I'll catch you on the next time. Krunk crew. This is Kyle Krunk signing out. Have a good one.